Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. What's up, everybody? Huge win for the 49ers over the Minnesota Vikings in what felt like a playoff game, the closest thing that could be a playoff game in the regular season. The 49ers win this one. A lot to talk about right now. A lot to talk about. First of all, clearly, the biggest concern is shout out to Tabor Peppers Pops, man, in the chat. Great job today from Tabor. At least he was really good on special teams today, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well too. But obviously the biggest concern is Fred Warner's injury and Debo Samuel's injury. You know, those are the things that you really hate to see, right? And everything was essentially going the 49ers' way, right? In the beginning of the game, things were a little bit shaky for Jimmy Garoppolo, but to his credit, in the second half, he stood in there. He took a bunch of hits. He made crucial throws, especially on that drive that should have essentially iced the game, but we all know now why. Thanks a lot, Robbie Gould. But to his credit, wasn't the best looking game. Threw an no pick. Was a little bit high on throws. That was definitely happening, but he settled down and he actually played well going into the game. Elijah Mitchell was incredible in this game. I mean, what else can you say about the kid? 6th rounder. I mean, for what they got for him or what they invested, it's incredible, the return. I believe he is the first 49ers rookie with 4 games of 100 yards, if I'm not mistaken. He had 133 or something like that today. He was just incredible. Obviously, the Vikings line was banged up and they were missing key people. But again, it's something about knowing the fact that the 49ers are going to try to run the ball. Can you stop it? And you can't. And again, the 49ers are finding their identity and just, a hard-fought victory. We knew the 49ers were going to have to score points in this game. The Vikings, they had some injuries in this game too. Dalvin Cook wound up leaving this game. But they can put up points pretty quickly. And for all the talk that we had with the secondary as well too is, hey, the secondary didn't really get as torched as it could have been, right? Justin Jefferson was relatively in check. And Adam Thielen had those 2 touchdowns, but I would say that a lot of those were coverage busts as opposed to getting just beat down the field. The second touchdown from Thielen, Hufanga was kind of out of position and he looked a little lost there, so the ball went behind him. That's just a good connection between Kirk and Thielen. That's something that he'll work through as a rookie, and he'll figure it out. Happy for Azeez Al-Shaair. Are you guys starting to see it now? Unfortunately, Dre Greenlaw left this game also with a groin injury. I guess he re-aggravated it, but Azeez Al-Shaair still playing well, still deserving of more time. I'm happy for him, man, because everything that I saw in training camp is translating over into the field. Yes, thank you so much for reminding me. If you like what you're seeing, hit that like button. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and send us up in the algorithm so we could get some more eyes on this. Appreciate everybody in here. Hope you guys got a drink. I got my first drink. Man, did I need it at the end of that game. Thanks a lot, Robbie Gould. That game should have never gotten that close at the end there. It should have never been like that. Thank you, Luke, for your contribution. Appreciate you, bro. I always see you here in the comments and everything as well too. But man, back to Azeez Al-Shaair. That was something that people had always said, hey, well, he can't really cover. Well, that was like he baited Kirk Cousins into that throw and he made a play on it right now. So, I mean, look, say what you want about Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw looks like he's going to be hurt again. Best ability is availability. And right now, Azeez Al-Shaair is doing fine. And the 49ers have shown ways to get around that. Obviously, Fred Warner got injured in this game, but you can run the 3 safety look, which puts Hufanga in a linebacker position. You can run the 3 linebacker look. It would just take K'Wan Williams off the field. So there's ways around it, and depth as well. So it's good that Drake Greenlaw gets back. Hopefully he can get back and not be injured for a long time. Tony, appreciate your donation, bros, as always, man. So, yeah, I think that the damper on this one is, well, first of all, let's just talk about the positives. The 49ers win in a playoff game. They move up in seeding, and if you watch the games today, the teams that are behind them, they're not really that good. I mean, a lot of people were talking about the Eagles and saying, oh, well, the Eagles are getting ready to make a run. They looked awful today. The Panthers looked awful today. A lot of the teams behind the Saints have no semblance of an offense. So if the 49ers can start to stack wins, because now this schedule is now actually opening up. Now you're starting to see it. And Papa Pepper, I thought I saw a lot of Tom Compton there at right tackle today. I thought I saw Jalen Moore in the beginning, but I saw a lot of Tom Compton, who, whatever. We joke, but I mean, I thought he played fine in this game as well, too. I mean, realistically, I didn't really see him getting beat too much. And man, I have to say what you want about Jimmy Garoppolo, man. On that last drive, he took 2 shots and stood in the pocket and delivered some throws, man. I gotta say, the Jimmy Garoppolo experience is so up and down, and I think that's what's so maddening. It's like you can see him float a few throws, and then he stands in the pocket, takes a hit, and delivers a clutch throw. Even that almost touchdown to Juwan Jennings was a really nice throw. It's so maddening that you can't get consistency across the board. It's just part of the experience. But the 49ers win another home game that is not against the Rams. That's another thing to talk about as well, too. But, of course, all eyes after this victory are going to be, what's the outlook for everybody who is injured? Is Fred going to be back? What's up with Debo? Debo walking around with the towel on. It looked like it was a lot worse. He looked emotional, but I mean, he looks like he's walking around. I don't want to speculate. I'm not a doctor, but you have to hope that it's not a big deal, because obviously, congrats to him being the first 49ers wide receiver with 1,000 receiving yards since Anquan Bolden in 2014. Absolutely in the offensive player of the year category. I want him to discuss as MVP, because when I hear MVP, I think most valuable. Obviously, that's a quarterback award. You've heard me say that a bunch of times, but the Debo Samuel thing would be a huge, huge loss just because of how well he's been playing this season. Fred Warner had a hamstring injury. We need to figure out that severity. And Dre Greenlaw looked like he was trying to work through the groin injury. So we'll find out in a little while what's going on with who and how severe these injuries are. So, yeah, I mean, the towel on his head helps to cool you down. He was doing it all, man. I mean, did you see Debo? He looked like the best cornerback on the team too, man. Like he made a play on that ball that was thrown to. It looked like it was thrown to Brashad Breeland, but Debo got in there and broke it up. Weston, appreciate you, bro. Is Debo the best running back in the NFL? Warner get healthy fast? Hope so. I mean, Debo's just efficient with his touches, man. And they said it was Debo's groin. I think yes, that's what I walked away with too. What they were saying. So yeah, just a great win. A feel-good win. The 49ers are on a winning streak. That's 3 in a row. It has happened before. That's the Major League reference. But I'm just going to run through some of the stats in the game. Jimmy Garoppolo, 17 for 26, 230, a touchdown, that 1 interception clearly. Elijah Mitchell, 27 for 133, 4.9 per carry, and a touchdown. Man, he is a bell cow. I mean, he's getting 20-plus touches every single time. It's crazy to me. 3 for 91 for Brandon Ayuk. Kyle Juszczyk with a huge catch on that final drive, also to help ice the game. Mitchell pitched in with 5 catches for 35 yards and 7 per. George Kittle, a little bit of an afterthought. 1 catch for 13 yards only. So Azeez Al-Shaair, 7 tackles, 1 assist, and an interception. Josh Norman, 4, and a punch out. We'll talk about him in a little bit. And yeah, I mean, a lot of good things to talk about in terms of what the 49ers did. 423 total yards, 215 passing yards, 208 rushing yards, 6.3 per play. 23 first downs, 5 for 12 on third down, 5 penalties for 57 yards. That's kind of rearing its ugly head a little bit more. They had a pretty clean game last week with only 1 penalty. So, and time of possession, again, dominated by the 49ers, 37-04 to 22-56. Obviously, things kind of changed when Dalvin Cook got injured on the play that Kevin Givens absolutely blew up. That was an amazing play. This team needed that in the worst way because it looked like things were going to be trending in the wrong direction. So, where you get that hat, though, Culture Kings, you can check it out on there. It's called The Golfer. They should cut the check. I should stop giving them free promotion. But since you asked and we're vibing and feeling good, I'll let you know, Moon Man. You can get it there. So, Vish, thank you for the donation. Shout out to Trent Sherfield for the crucial reception in traffic after Debo got injured. Yeah, man. That was a big play. And I was one of the people that was talking about Trent Sherfield because he was playing so well out of camp. Obviously, that didn't translate into the season. But, if Debo's down, he's going to have to see a little bit more time. But Juwan Jennings, man, I mean, on top of all the blocking that he's doing, he nearly had his second touchdown in this game. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. I mean, he has 2 on the season, but he could have had 2 in this game. He's actually evolving a little bit more, man, and he looks like the guy that they want as that big slot that they've been craving. They've been trying to get it from. They tried it with Jalen Hurd. They tried it with Sanu. So, maybe Sherfield is evolving. I mean, Jennings is evolving. That could be a really good thing for this 49ers team, especially if, unfortunately, Debo Samuel is forced to miss time. The game is next Sunday, so let's see. We're going to find out, I guess, after when Shanahan takes the podium. He'll talk a little bit more about injuries. But at the same time, Shanahan is kind of, I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say lying or untrustworthy, but sometimes he can downplay injuries. So I think we're going to find out during the week a little bit more about the severity, unless he comes right out and says, hey, he's going to be out for this long, and they know right away. So just keep your eyes open for that. Yes, please make sure that you hit that like button. Thank you, Sin. Big Des, please don't get me started. I'm happy. I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on the win. And you guys know why I don't like kickers. And it's not just Robbie Gould. It's a waste of money. Okay. And another thing that really chaps me about Robbie Gould, man, is the man didn't want to play here. A kicker held out. A kicker said, I'm holding out. Not a wide receiver, not a running back, not a quarterback. A kicker said, I don't want to play here anymore. I want to go back to Chicago. Luckily for him, I'm not the general manager, because I would have packed his bags and cut him and sent him off. Promise you. But what did this 49ers organization do? They extended him. His dead cap hit next year is $8 million. That is gross. It is gross for a man who is 4 for 11 since 2019 from 50 yards out. Joey Sly was here for 3 weeks and went 2 for 2 from 50. That's my point about picking up guys off the street. Kickers do not matter. They don't deserve rights. That's the end of my rant, okay? But at the same time, everything else pretty much defensively, there were some things that obviously there were some missed tackles, and give the Vikings credit, man. They have explosive players and they can make things happen quickly. And that's right after the fumble and the touchdown. That's why you can't take your foot off the gas pedal. They get that kickoff return, but then they go down the field right away after that too, and they get close to scoring. I just can't remember the drive offhand, but that's my point. Is the 49ers had to keep going, and this Vikings team was always going to present that sort of challenge, especially the way Cousins has been playing. Cousins threw his 3rd interception in this game of the season. Shout out to Azeez Al-Shaair again. But I mean, otherwise, the secondary didn't get as torched as it possibly could have. I mean, Adam Thielen was going crazy a little bit in the first half, but again, I kind of felt like that was more coverage bust than it was just getting toasted one-on-one. If anybody was getting beat, it was Josh Norman. Josh Norman got called for a holding, and Justin Jefferson still beat him. And then the pass interference, whatever. Call it what you want. Say it wasn't a pass interference. He's always in that position. They're always going to try him. And because he's so aggressive, refs are going to lock onto that, and they're usually going to call it on him. No questions asked mostly. So, Sin, Rams lost. The 49ers are 1 game out of second place right now. 1 game. The Rams are 7-4. The 49ers are 6-5. 1 game out of second place. So the idea that the 5th spot is out of the question, it's not. It really isn't. Now, Arizona's a little bit further out right now, so and they've already played twice, so they have no chance to make up ground in that way. But it's good to stack these NFC wins in terms of tiebreakers for playoff positioning, and I think that's really good. So, all right, I'll take some of your questions if you guys want. Again, big win for the 49ers. Felt like a playoff game. Things got a little shaky after a while, but again, credit to Jimmy Garoppolo in the second half, man. Stood in there, made throws on that final drive, got hit, made some other really good throws on top before, missing all those throws in the beginning. But hey, the guy stood in there and he did enough to win the game. He definitely did. So the 49ers are rolling with a three-game winning streak. And who would have thought after that Arizona game? I sure wouldn't have, that this team would be in this position with a chance to make a move in the playoffs here. The 49ers should be acting like, they should be striving to be that team that nobody wants to play, right? There's always that one team in the tournament that you're just like, man, I don't want to see them. I don't want that. The 49ers should be trying to strive to get to that, to where, yes, there's a tier, right? There's a tier of teams that probably are ahead, obviously, because the Packers just won. It seems like they're going to be in that hierarchy. Arizona's obviously up there. But you still have that team that either sneaks in or is in the bottom of the playoff position that is just, you don't want to face them. And the 49ers should be striving to be that. And I think that the more that they stack these wins, they get their confidence going, they can get guys back healthy, praying that Fred is fine, praying that Debo is fine, getting Greenlaw back, all of that would be great. But you want to strive to be that team that nobody wants to face. And right now, this is 3 straight weeks of the 49ers establishing their identity, running the ball with relative ease. I mean, they almost had 6 per in this game. I didn't think they were going to be able to get to 40, and they almost did. And this was a shootout. So it wasn't even like they were controlling the ball and keeping it away from the Vikings. The Vikings were just able to move the ball quicker. So Big Dez, should we stop running Debo at running back for a while, concerned about his knees and ankles? Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? I understand that sentiment because you're like, hey, you don't want to put him in harm's way. But I'm a big believer of getting the ball in the hands of your playmakers however you can. So I don't know if it was necessarily him just being a running back that had that happen, because when he catches passes too, he runs just as hard as he would as a running back. So I don't know if it's that, but I understand the sentiment. I really do. And we're going to find out pretty quickly, I guess, what's going on with him if the injury is severe. I definitely understand that sentiment, but I also believe that you should be getting the ball in the hands of your playmakers any way that you can. So for anybody who's still in here, we've been around for 15 minutes now. Just make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit notification bell on the subscription so you know when we go live. We're going to have a bunch of shows this week talking about this one, talking about next game. So I appreciate everybody in here. We're almost close to 300 in here. So shout out to everybody who is enjoying an adult beverage and enjoying this win, because this was a really, really good victory. 49ers have won 3 in a row and 4 of their last 5. So things are looking good. And credit to this team, man. Credit to this team for continuing to fight, never letting things get too out of hand, and continuing to find ways to win ball games, man. And that's it. That's all you can ask for. I mean, on November 28th, you can't ask for anything more than what the 49ers are doing right now. So, all right. Let's see. We'll take some more questions. Did anyone hear the commentator at the end? Bad no call, man. He hated the 49ers for some reason. The entire game was commenting against the 49ers the entire game. If that's Jonathan Vilma, he was calling Kenny Arbor was calling Dre Greenlaw D Greenlaw. Jonathan Vilma just seems unprepared. He was talking about Greenlaw, and he said, well, Greenlaw's back from COVID. No, it was never COVID. He had a groin injury. It's like, man, are you doing your research to be there? I don't get it. And I think he was doing it last year as well, too, where he was just mispronouncing people's names. And it's like, man, I can do your job for much less. Like, pay me the minimum, and I can go in there, and I know players' names. I know what's going on with them. So, I mean, it was just Jonathan Vilma is working through some stuff. He's obviously new at it, but he's not really too good at it. I like Mark Sanchez much better, if you ask me. Give the ball to Kittle. Yeah, I would like to see that as well, too. I mean, I will say this. In the run game, he opened up a big run for Elijah Mitchell. I can't wait to get my hands on this tape so I could watch it again. But he got outside, and he opened it up for Elijah Mitchell. So his impact is felt in other ways, but I definitely would love to see him be more of a target in the pass game, man. One for 13 is not what you want from George Kittle at all, man. Jonathan Vilma still holds a grudge. Vernon posted the stick. Ooh, that's right. He doesn't like. I knew it was something like that. Ayuk has been playing his tail off. Great route runner. Yeah, he's balling, man. He's all the way back. So whatever criticisms we had of the way that Ayuk was being handled, I guess you can't really argue with the results right now. You really can't, because he's playing like the guy that we had hoped would carry over from last season. And if Debo is going to miss time, Brandon Ayuk's going to have to step up. And it's good to see him playing this well now, because it seems like he'd be suited for that going forward. So after the Vikings looking like the scary team, I think we might have snatched that title. No INTs, hardly any turnovers before today. Yeah, I mean, the 49ers did what they had to do. Pass rush, Nick Bosa got his 11th sack. Azeez Al-Shaair, balling, man. I'm so happy for the young man. It's just these injuries. That's it, really. What's going to be happening with these injuries? What's going to be happening going forward with them? How long are these guys going to be out? Fred, you can't have him out for too long. That's the one thing that we always counted on. Fred's durable. He never misses games. Debo can't have him out for long, because he is the offense. Him and Elijah Mitchell are the offense, the driving force of this offense. And he's been so good, it would be tough to get away from them. This is why we don't pay kickers. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Pay them the league minimum, and that's it. And they should be happy to be making that. If it ain't Justin Tucker, I don't care about them. He's the only kicker who deserves rights. That's it. He made a wrong call. It wasn't a catch. I think are you talking about the Thielen one, right? Yeah. And then he was like, well, that's why I'm not a coach and I don't throw the challenge flag or anything like that. I caught that as well too. Let's see what we got here. Aziz also had a fumble recovery as well on the Kevin Givens thing. I would have liked to have seen somebody else pick that up quicker. It shouldn't have been on the floor for that long, but yes, he did. He had 2 turnovers in this one. Kyle Juszczyk, though, thank you for the donation, Frank Garcia. Yes, man, Kyle Juszczyk, use him more in the passing game, please. He caused mismatches. I saw him all training camp bake whoever was in front of him. He's a former tight end. And did you guys know he went to Harvard? Man, I really had no idea about that. You know, it's mind-boggling how people gloss over that, but yes, I would like to see Kyle Juszczyk get the ball more and be in space against linebackers, against safeties, because he can win those matchups. He runs routes very savvy, and he should be more of a weapon. I mean, when you pay the guy that much, it shouldn't just be to block. You should be able to use him in other ways as well, too. Vish, I got to give it up to Shanahan for sticking with the run beginning of the season. He used to abandon it. Yeah, I mean, that's what we all wanted, right? Everything goes through I think when this offense is as efficient as it is, it's through the run game, and they're sticking to it, and they found their identity. This is who we thought this team was going to be walking in week 1, and why people had the whole, hey, they can make a run, because in the playoffs, run game, defense, that's what's going to get you going forward. And that's the stuff that travels, right? In away games, in the cold, the run game is always what travels, and if the 49ers are able to do it at this level consistently, they're a very tough team to beat, and that's all you can really ask. The dive attempt, though. Yeah, what was Juice doing, man? He tried to jump from like the 10. Like, you're not Ayuk, man. There was like 7 guys there. You fell on people. But hey, he can't fault the effort right there. But yeah, that was pretty good. Shout out to Cam Pepper. Thank you for stopping in, man. And vote Tabor Pepper into the Pro Bowl, man. It is egregious that there is another long snapper who has more votes than Tabor Pepper. Appreciate you for stopping in and hanging out with us for a little bit, Papa Pepper. We'll talk with you on Twitter, man. It's really cool for you to be in here. Let's see. All hail East Bay Chris for the curses on opposing teams. That might be the reason, right? Like every week he's changing his avatar, the Newman avatar, to a new hat. So shout out to Chris, man. He might be galaxy braining this whole thing right now. So Trey Sermon out. There goes the top pick. Yeah, he got injured on the kickoff. I believe he was on special teams. And yeah, so I mean, more Mitchell, more Wilson. Mitchell looks fine from the broken finger and the rib, so just get him healthy, get him ready for game day. But it would have been really nice to keep Wayne Gallman around, just because he's reliable, pass protection, solid. I didn't want to lose Wayne Gallman, but, unfortunately, there's only so many roster spots. So, yeah, I would suspect that the 49ers bring somebody back in unless Hasty's ready to go soon, and we know how much they like him. So, maybe people were right on the whole, maybe you should go get Phillip Lindsay. I mean, I don't know how high Miami placed the claim, so they were higher than the 49ers. They wouldn't have gotten him. But, yeah, running back depth, that should be something that they should be looking at right now. So, Michael, thank you for the donation. Thanks for the great content, Jason. Much love from Melbourne, Australia. Man, appreciate that, man. Checking in. I wonder what time it is over there. It's got to be either the morning or very late. So I appreciate you tapping in, staying up, watching the game, and joining us, man. This is that means a lot. Appreciate that. Jesse, head of the Sprint Right Option Advanced Analytics Department. If Debo misses a few games, who do you think replaces his production? I got to think that this turns into Brandon Ayuk and a lot more George Kittle. Jesse, can you update the stat for everyone here on what the 49ers record is when they outscore their opponent? We need that updated real quick. Oh, it's 12 p.m. over there. Okay, so what a beautiful morning. What a beautiful afternoon then in Australia. That's awesome. So, Jay, is Debo becoming a top 5 type of player? I think Aaron might know his name now. Yeah, he is, man. Offensive weapon, absolutely in the offensive player of the year discussion. And I definitely want him to be talked about as the MVP. Here we go, Jesse. The 49ers are now 6-0 when they score more points than their opponent, 3-0 since cutting Jalen Hurd, 1-0 with Tom Compton starting at right tackle. Man, this is the hard-hitting analysis that you can't find anywhere else. Shout out to the analytics department. They continue to crush it, crunching the numbers, finding the cutting-edge way to analyze these games. Jesse, as always, thank you, buddy. That is cutting-edge stuff right there. Usually when you score more points than the other team, you win the game. Usually. And right now, that's what the 49ers are doing these last 3 games. So Trent Sherfield should play for Debo. Yeah, I mean, I think so, but Juwan Jennings offers so much right now in terms of the blocking. I'm sure Sherfield will see more snaps. I did see a little bit of Travis Benjamin out there too to start the game, which I don't get. But yeah, it'll be a hodgepodge of them. It'll be a bunch of those guys. And Devin Funches, I don't know. I mean, it'll have to be a group effort, I think, but it depends on the blocking. And I think Juwan Jennings is ahead of all those guys because of the blocking. Now, if you toss in those tough catches over the middle, what he did against Jacksonville in terms of getting that safety kicked out and keeping his cool and nearly coming down with a second touchdown in this game, I think Juwan Jennings is the guy that is a little bit ahead of him right now. So All-Pro Debo, it even rhymes. Yeah, man. 1,000 yards, the first since Anquan Bolden in 2014, the first 49ers drafted wide receiver with 1,000 in a season since Terrell Owens, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Michael Crabtree ever got to 1,000, but maybe somebody can update me real quick. So, yeah, I mean, just a lot of good vibes out of this game aside from the injuries in terms of what's the mark of a good team? Finding different ways to win games. It's not always going to go, the way that it did in Jacksonville. It's not always going to go the way that it did against the Rams, and there's going to be adversity. How do you respond to that? And this 49ers team did, scoring before the half and then scoring right after. It's the little things like that start to make you feel like this team has kind of turned the corner execution-wise and confidence-wise. And that's why the 49ers feel like that one team that nobody really wants to face right now at this point. And if they can keep it rolling, they can move up these standings in the playoff picture and, maybe grab themselves a home game if they're able to get up to the 5th or 4th seed. But who knows? A lot of things have to happen. I haven't really looked at everything else in terms of the records. But this was a good win in terms of the 49ers doing something that it's not to plan, right? Like you have a plan. Obviously, things don't always go perfectly in this league. Other teams blow that up, but can you respond? Can you fight back? Can you win the game? And that's what the 49ers did. Very, very good victory. I would put this up there as the best victory of the year for this team because of the circumstances, because of the opponent that basically mirrors what you want to do and winning at home and beating a team that's not the Rams at home. So a lot of good things to take away from this game. I'm overjoyed to watch the film on this one. It was a very fun game. Had a few moments of nervousness, but at the same time, a win's a win, and you don't get style points in this league, right? Let's see. Crabtree. Okay, so Crabtree had 1,100 in 2012. There you go. All right, so since Crabtree, okay, cool. Yep, he had 1,000 with Kaepernick. Cool. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. If the Niners make the wild card, do you think they will play the Cowboys? Good question. Probably. I mean, right now, did Tampa win today? Yeah, they did. They iced their game against Indianapolis. The Packers won again today. Arizona's still the first seed. Those 3 seem to be the top 3, right? And then after that, it's a free-for-all. Dallas, Rams, Niners, whoever's right now in that 7th seed. So it might end up being something of a 4-5 seed. I have to look at how this works. I know there's only one bye, and that'll be for the number 1 seed. But it looks likely that it could be a 49ers-Cowboys matchup, which would harken back to the days of when I was a kid and the 49ers and the Cowboys used to lock up every single year. That would be a lot of fun to go back and do. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's continue to just worry about who's in front of us this next week. Control what you can control and keep winning games and keep it week to week. So got to admit, I was having flashbacks to the Green Bay game after that missed field goal. I honestly wasn't. I was just, taking my attempt to, perpetuate my kickers don't matter narrative, and everybody else was pretty funny about it too. So whenever Robbie Gould makes a 50-yarder, my timeline goes crazy. When he misses a kick, it goes crazy. I don't know how this became my brand. I thought this was something that everybody kind of knew in terms of kickers shouldn't be paid much and they don't necessarily matter. And people are always like, oh, well, you need a clutch kicker. Well, score more touchdowns. Sometimes you're only going to need that for like one game, really, realistically. And the Patriots had Adam Vinatieri, and everybody's going to say, well, he won all those games. Yeah, they paid him the league minimum. That's really how you want to do it. There should be no reason that your kicker has an $8 million dead cap hit, especially when he can't hit from 50 consistently. It just doesn't make sense to me. I thought I saw a question up here, Junior. Do you think this win guarantees Jimmy comes back 2022? Well, today Ian Rappaport kind of dropped a bomb, but it wasn't a bomb, basically saying the door is shut on him coming back. They're looking to trade him. All Jimmy Garoppolo right now is doing is furthering his draft capital, whatever they're going to get in return. A team that sticks out immediately that I've been floating out there, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have already come out and said that the next person who takes over for Ben Roethlisberger, they will not go the rookie route. It will be an established veteran. If the Steelers send a second-round pick, you pack Jimmy Garoppolo's bags and you send him right over there immediately. He'll fit right in and operate that offense efficiently. And that's kind of where I see him going. If they strike out on Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, however that goes. But Jimmy Garoppolo seems like a fit there. He seems like he can go there, operate that offense, because the way Ben Roethlisberger does, operates it is very intermediate. Deontay Johnson fantasy owners love that because he catches 10, 11 balls a game, but they're all near the line of scrimmage, nothing really down the field. I think Jimmy Garoppolo can do that fine. If you give him a defense, you give him an offensive line, he can operate your offense efficiently, and I think that's what the Steelers should be looking at. So let's see. Debo having an MRI to evaluate groin injury. Thank you for that update, Sin. I'm sure that's what Kyle Shanahan just said, so we're going to find out a little bit more. Fingers crossed that it's not it's not severe. I would expect him to not play this next week, but what do I know? I'm not a doctor. I hope that he does play. But if who's next? Atlanta? Is it Atlanta that's next? Somebody let me know in the comments. I think the 49ers can win that game without Debo Samuel. So if this is an opportunity to rest him while still putting yourself in a position to win, I say do it, because you obviously need him in games where you're going to need your offense a little bit more. Niners only a game behind the Rams. Who knows what the standings will be? Absolutely. Maybe that Week 18 game is going to be for something. Who knows? And that's the fun part. So, man, I need to start looking at tickets to that game and the flights. The last time I looked out of Newark, where I live on the East Coast, it was actually only $195 round trip. Probably should have just jumped on that right then. It's starting to shape up to be a big game, honestly. So, and Minnesota is the 7th seed. Yep, absolutely. Can we switch places with the Rams and take the 5th seed? 3 straight dubs and 3 straight losses. Yes, they're 1 game behind. Absolutely. Matthew Stafford's banged up, apparently, and not playing well at all. Yeah, I mean, they're right there for the taking. So, Jesse, I hope we play the Cowboys. I live in Texas and would enjoy the bragging rights for beating them. Whew, man, yeah, taking Cowboys fans down a peg, man, that's the sign of a successful season, man. 49er fans, especially, I'm 37. 49er fans my age, 94, the 49ers broke through against Dallas. But for a long time, Dallas was the bane of 49ers fans' existences, meaning they were the team that usually stopped them, and they would go on and win the Super Bowl. So it would be really nice to give it back to them. Anytime that the 49ers play the Cowboys, those sort of feelings get stirred up in my mind. And those memories, that PTSD of Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin, they start running back. So to be able to send Cowboys fans back, because they're all back and out now that they're playing well and Dak's healthy and stuff like that, or they're winning games. But man, that would be great. That would be excellent. I would love that. Absolutely love that. Junior Gonzalez. So Jimmy's the quarterback 2022. So someone made a good point. Rappaport drops this bombshell report this morning, and then everybody says, yeah, well, you were telling us it was Mac Jones the entire time, so we don't know what to believe. And honestly, that's not a wrong way to think about it. I just don't expect it to happen. I would think that is further bungling the move to 3. It really just is at this point. Now you're putting further damage on Trey Lance, and you're not taking advantage of the rookie quarterback contract. And that would be the biggest mistake. So, I mean, Jimmy continues to play well and operate efficiently. They can offload him and send him somewhere. Probably have to eat a little bit of that contract or restructure it in a way where it's not such a big hit and push the money down the line for whatever team, and they can work on an extension or something like that with him if they want. But I wouldn't expect him to be here. I don't think that's likely. The only way Jimmy Garoppolo's here is if for the rest of the season he goes on this MVP-like tear and they win the Super Bowl. That's the only way I could see it. And I mean, I'm not saying that that's impossible, but it's not likely. I don't think that's likely. So, That kickoff was a short, that kickoff return was a short kick, but shockingly, that was 18, not 9. Yeah, man, our 4th round pick. You can't tackle, you can't kick, man. These kickers, man, they're killing it. Sorry. Nah, man, Jimmy G is staying. He will sit Lance another year and waste our picks. Hope not. Hope not. That would be worst case scenario. Jay, what's up? Thank you for checking in. Seattle's next, huh? Man, 49ers have to win this game too. They have to. I mean, right now, Seattle's not playing well. Monday, I believe they should beat the Washington football team, but you have to finish their season right now. You have to. You have to put them away. Do not let them linger around. Please don't let them linger around. Get that monkey off your back at this point. Just go into Seattle, finish the job, put your foot on their neck. Man, I really want Debo to play in that game. Man, all right, that's not the same thing at all, right? So it's not Atlanta. So that's a game that, yeah, Debo Samuel's going to be missed in this game. Fred Warner as well, too. So, man, these injuries stink. Let's see. Jay Novacek, too. Please stop saying Cowboys fans, the Cowboys names, please. Kyle, Debo took a forearm to the head as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Let's see. Again, I understand the hesitance to say, hey, you shouldn't be using him that way. But I agree with getting the ball in your playmaker's hands as best you can. And like I said, when he catches those passes behind the line and he's his wide receiver, he runs just as hard. So, I mean, that's just his style of play. And I mean, honestly, that felt like a freak thing that happened. He already started to go down. It wasn't like he got hit and he hurt the groin. It looked like the groin already pulled up on him a little bit before the hit came. That's why he kind of slid down. You know, Debo's going to try to fight through that tackle when he's right. So I don't know if it's necessarily the running back thing, but I understand the sentiment. I really do. I really do. Niners trading Jimmy for a 4th. I mean, that'll be fine. Hey, but you never know. Sam Bradford got traded for a 1 when the man couldn't even stay on the field and didn't have anywhere near as many wins as Jimmy Garoppolo. So who knows? It's a wild world, man. It is a wild world. The Panthers sent all that stuff for Sam Darnold. So who knows? Who knows? And if he can continue to play well, I mean, that was his first turnover, I want to say, in the last 4 games. So that's the first time that the 49ers have won when he's turned the ball over on an interception or something like that. So I don't know. You know, it's a 4th would be fine with me because I never would have envisioned that going into the season, or especially when the 49ers were playing bad. But if he can up it, you know, and get a 3rd, I don't see why not. I think you got to make that move. So do you think Russ will be somewhere else next year? Yeah, I think he wants out. They have to blow the whole thing up at this point. Pete Carroll's gone. That rah-rah stuff is all kind of done. They tried to bring in the Rams pass game coordinator. It's just not working. It's not clicking for whatever reason. And you know what? A lot of people have to start to face the fact that Russell Wilson misses a lot of easy reads because he wants to play hero ball and throw the ball down the field. And people don't recognize that because, you know, Russ has this reputation, this narrative around him. But when you watch on film, there's easy throws in front of him that he just passes up to get out of the pocket and try to, you know, throw that moon ball down the field. And it's like, man, good quarterbacks, they hit their throws when they have to. So it's starting to rear its ugly head now, especially without Chris Carson, and that running game is nowhere near as effective as it was when he's in the lineup. So even with those weapons, their offense just looks off. It just looks off. And I don't think that has anything to do with the hand because he was doing the same thing at the end of last year. If you remember, they started off flaming hot. And then at the end of the year, that offense wasn't the same. It just was not the same. And I don't know what it is. A whole new system. You want to say, okay, they're trying something that's a little bit different, something a little bit more elaborate, but it's the same thing. And that's not my opinion. That's just what it is. Like that same kind of plays carried over from last year. Russell Wilson has just not been himself. Just hasn't. All right. Kyle is overusing Debo. Don't need him taking carries. I kind of agree with that only because Jeff Wilson is still there. I mean, I understand that he's not as effective. You know, we've seen him in a larger role and compete and be fine. But for some reason, he just doesn't have the same kind of bounce. The only person who looks like they have that explosive, you know, plays to them is Mitchell and Debo. So let's see. John Chapman said from him being at the game, Debo looked like he was okay at the end of the game, getting the crowd hype. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's hard to say because all that adrenaline is still there and all of that is still flowing through him. So we're going to find out when all that winds down. That's the thing, right? Like he might not be feeling horrible pain right then, but it's when all of that adrenaline wears off. where's that thing at? And we'll find out when we get that MRI. So, okay. So, Russ a Steeler or a Giant next year? Man, trade him to the AFC. I don't want to see him anymore on any NFC team. Trade him to the AFC. Send him to Pittsburgh, please. Goodness gracious. Gustavo, better rookie running back, Mitchell or Najee? This is really good, actually. I still think it's Najee. Najee has a bad offensive line, and there's no holes in that line. But it's a much more interesting conversation than we thought it would be, especially considering how high Najee was taken and where Elijah Mitchell was. But, again, the Shanahan system is great, man. It is great for many running backs. You've seen many running backs produce out of it. Jeff Wilson, Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, Debo Samuel. So it's a little bit more about system, I think. So, but it's way closer than people think. I still give the nod to Najee. I do. But who would have thought that we would have been having this conversation and it would be this close? Seriously. Let's see. Big Ben stinks. Yeah, he's not playing well at all. Raul, how did Warner get injured? I don't know. All I saw was Mayoko tweet that his hammy was acting up and he was questionable to return. He was on the sideline. It looked like he had a wrap on the hamstring, had his helmet on, but he wasn't back out there. We're going to find out the severity of that injury going forward. So fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed for Fred. So Paul Granger, I'm from Louisiana, and I'm super excited for Mitchell. Dude's from the city, like 20 minutes from me. Yeah, man, 6th-round pick. Man, Bobby Turner's doing a great job with him, and way to identify him. And what I noticed when I was at training camp was he looked like the best pass-catching back, but we didn't really get to see him running the ball as much because it was very much Sermon and Mostert 1A, 1B. So it looked like what the plan was going to be going into the season. But something had to happen outside of football, meaning it's not play. The reason that Trey Sermon is not playing. Like, he had to have done something behind closed doors that Shanahan is not explaining. And then that's just my opinion. Has to be something more than that because he's not playing terribly. He wasn't playing horribly. So I don't know if it's that. Let's see. Juwan Jennings, the new Kendrick Bourne. Yeah, I think the 49ers need something like that. Just a third down guy, clutch in the red zone on third down type of thing. Juwan Jennings has been playing very well. When I talked to people after he was drafted from Tennessee, people who are fans of the Volunteers and people associated with that team, they all talked about his dog mentality and how tough he was and how he was hard to take down. And that's all the stuff that you love to hear because that's what Shanahan likes. And now you add in his run blocking, and Juwan Jennings is becoming a really nice find, especially because he just was absent last year with the injuries. So where did I get the hat? I got it from Culture Kings. It's an Australian site. And it's called The Golfer. So you can check it out on there too as well. It's got this snazzy little logo on here, and it's a snap. It's a new era. So yeah, check that out. Mitchell is close to 700 with 6 games left. Yeah, and he was injured. He missed some games. So yeah. Jennings is good, but he's no KB. Let's make that clear. Yeah, I think that it's I understand that. And it's a little bit fair to say that because of how well Kendrick Bourne's playing, how durable he was. And I think that the 49ers kind of missed his reliability, right? Never missed games, always was clutch on third downs in the red zone. So I hear you. I think that we're just talking about filling that role. No disrespect to Kendrick Bourne, who we love over here, scored another touchdown today. I think he had 2, matter of fact. No disrespect to him, and I agree with you on that one. So Raul Ayuk really stepping up. Love to see it. Yeah, again, you can say what you want about the way that we thought Shanahan was handling him, but I mean, you can't really argue with the results at this point. He's just playing well and he's producing. You love to see it. You really do. And if Debo's going to be out, really going to need him in the Seattle game. Really going to need him and George Kittle. It's going to be a big game where I don't expect the Seattle Seahawks to just continuously lay duds like they have been lately. I just can't see it. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong about that, but I just can't see it. And knowing how Seattle plays the 49ers, they're going to get up for that game. And those games are always tight, especially because they're divisional games. So, yeah, I agree, man. Ayuk stepping up at the right time. So 45 minutes in, we got about 300 people in here. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. That's awesome, man. I appreciate everybody for sticking around with me and enjoying this 49ers win. If you are liking the content, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when we're going live. Sprint Right Option podcast this week, State of the Franchise with Brad Graham. Leo Luna and I will be doing a show this week. Still got the fantasy football stream that we do before the games at noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So I appreciate everybody for tapping in. This is a very good win. Obviously, there's some things that are worrisome. We're talking about the injuries and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate everybody for being here. So let's see. Paul, man, to be honest, I thought day one Rams were repping the NFC in the Super Bowl, but it looks like that won't happen. Yeah, that's why, you can't really jump off the bridge in terms of a few weeks. And honestly, I thought so as well. When you really look at the way that Sean McVay was able to squeeze everything that he got out of Jared Goff, you see Matthew Stafford go over there and you start to think, oh my goodness, now he doesn't really have to hold his hand. He can do more, but Matthew Stafford's banged up, not playing well. And anybody who was hesitant about Matthew Stafford, they're kind of taking their victory laps on them, and you can't really argue with them at this point. Just been the way he's been playing, man. He threw another pick six today. It just looks bad. I don't know. I mean, the Robert Woods loss is obviously something. But even before Robert Woods got injured, you kind of saw the cracks. You saw it in the Tennessee game. You saw it against the 49ers. Again, against this Packers team, he kind of threw up another dud this week. So, yeah, I don't know. It's so strange. The man has so much arm talent. He can make all the throws. But for some reason, he's just not playing well, and he always finds a way to be injured. I mean, he takes a ton of hits. I mean, well, he took a ton of hits when he was with the Lions behind that line. And now they're reporting it's his arm, it's his ribs, it's his back. And it's like, man, he's going to be going through this for the rest of his career. It's a shame. But those people who didn't like Matthew Stafford, you got to give yourselves a hand right now, because right now, as of late, you guys are looking good because, again, they shipped off Jared Goff. They shipped off a first-round pick, and they're kind of paying Jared Goff's salary on top of getting Stafford. So, I mean, they spent a lot to get Stafford, and that's not the result that you want right there. So, Staff looking like Sam Darnold. Goodness gracious, man. That's pretty bad, because Sam Darnold's pretty bad, man. I mean, the Panthers cut Cam to sign Teddy to replace Cam. Then they got Sam Darnold to replace Teddy. Then they got Cam to replace Sam. You just can't, that's galaxy brain maneuvering right there, man. It just really is. And everybody's been giving me crap about Cam Newton because of how he played today. And that's fine, whatever. He didn't look good today, but that team as a whole, I like Matt Rule, but I don't know what's going on with them. They were awful today. First drive, DJ Moore dropped 2 passes that were right on the money. The offensive line can't block worth the damn. The play calling is suspect, like calling a 5-step drop out of shotgun on an out route that is already developed. Like it's a lot of things when I watch their film. Like Joe Brady's good in stretches, but sometimes his play calling is a little baffling. So yeah, I mean, let's see. Let's make this clear. Stafford is not a winner, big numbers, but he can't win big games. I mean, you can't really argue with that. I mean, his numbers and against teams with 500 record, or I believe it was a team that's 5 games over 500. He's like 0 and 16 or something like that. Some crazy stat I think I saw. I could be wrong about that, but it was not a good stat. It was definitely not a good stat. So I hear you on that one, D. All right. Raul, somehow the Seahawks play their best ball against us. Niners got to be ready. Absolutely. That's my fear as well. Cannot hang your hat on what they've been doing. Just know that they're going to be ready. And you know that the one thing they don't want to do is have the 49ers finish their season. But if this 49ers team is really turning the corner and turning it into that team that we believe that they are, you've got to step on their neck right now and end this. End their season. End it. Finish it off. And if Washington beats them, then fully put the body in the casket and get the pallbearers and put it in the grave. Get rid of them. Don't let them hang around. Please don't let them hang around. Anyone else think this stream needs victory shots? I mean, I'm not drinking shots, only because my little one's about to be home in a little while. I still got some parenting to do, but I mean, this is as close as I got to it. I got a little bit of wine in my cup, so salud, 49er fans. Big win this week, and we just got to hope that the injuries aren't as bad. So I could probably stick around for about maybe 10 more minutes. You guys have any other questions, anything else that you want to talk about? I'm here. Let's get it. Again, almost 260 people in here live watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell for when we go live after games and all of our podcasts that we do during the week. This is a fun win, and I can't wait to talk about this for the rest of the week. So, A-Town 16, why do you think the Jimmy G story broke today about him being traded at the end of the season? Good question. Very good question. Someone planted that story, and that's my conspiracy theory. And why now when he's playing very well? And I don't know. Like, it almost feels like that was put out there because of what Shanahan said in the press conference about, well, I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks around, or we're not closing the door on anything. I don't know why that was dropped today. And, Rappaport, say what you want about the whole Mac Jones thing. I think we all distrust the media now based on what happened draft season. But Rappaport's not pulling that from thin air. That got dropped. Somebody put that out there. So either that's to let people know, hey, we're still open for business on Jimmy. He's healthy. He's playing fine, well, efficient. One of those adjectives. Come get him, maybe. But it was a little peculiar that came out, actually. So I don't know why, but I'm going to say that it was just because the whole idea of saying we're not closing the door on Jimmy Garoppolo being here next year, I think they wanted to kind of stomp that out because that kind of got a little bit of traction. When Mayoko is writing articles about it, saying that this would be a mistake, it's getting a little bit too much traction, so you kind of want to stomp that out. So that was probably just dropped on Rappaport. So, I mean, that's a good question, man. Good question. RDK, D'Amico Ryans, good job. Nobody in the NFC could beat us if we play this way. Yeah, D'Amico Ryans has been fine, man. I think that he's doing the best that he can, especially taking his lumps in his first year. I am on record saying that obviously D'Amico Ryans has better personnel than Robert Saleh did in his first year, but I am also on record saying that D'Amico Ryans is a better defensive coordinator than Robert Saleh was in his first year, not his last year. Make sure that you clarify that. Not talking about 2020, because I felt like that was Robert Saleh's best job as a defensive coordinator, masterful job with all the injuries. I'm talking about the first year because I was old enough to remember when 49er fans wanted Robert Saleh gone and didn't want anything to do with him. And the one thing that he did that you don't really see from coaches is he improved year after year after year. And that's usually not the case. So I will say that. But as far as his first year, I feel D'Amico Ryans is ahead of Robert Saleh in terms of his play calling and understanding of the coverages and everything as well. And obviously the Arizona game looks bad. You got taken to the shed by Cliff Kingsbury. Just credit them for understanding where to attack this 49ers defense. And Jimmy Ward and Tart weren't playing in that game. So a lot of things weren't in his favor. Again, he's obviously operating with a better personnel. Obviously, no questions asked. But at the same time, I feel like his X's and O's is kind of understated. So I agree with you on this one. So I'm super worried about the Seahawks. We don't play well against them no matter what the records are. Yeah, I mean, toss the records out. Toss how they've been playing. Toss how the 49ers been playing out. Divisional games, especially against Seattle, they always like that. So the 49ers need to come out with that same intensity. And like I said, finish the job. Get rid of them. Don't let them hang around. So, Junior, what does next year look like for you? I don't even know if we're going to be alive next year. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's obviously going to be trade week one. You go into the whole offseason with him. You find a trade partner for Jimmy Garoppolo. But this roster is going to look drastically different. 30 some odd free agents, something like that. There's a lot of change that's about to happen. Some old guard leaving, some new blood in there. So we're going to find out. It's going to look drastically different. What I want to preach to 49er fans when it comes to Trey Lance is, please don't put lofty expectations on him in terms of his development. And what I mean by that is we are watching rookie quarterbacks take their lumps, right? Mac Jones is playing the best out of all of them, clearly. Trevor Lawrence is taking his lumps. Justin Fields is taking his lumps. Zach Wilson's taking his lumps. But you know what? They're going through their reps. So when Trey Lance has some bumps in the road, it's going to be hard because people are going to expect him to be at the same level of those guys who have taken much more reps than him. So I think that I just want to preach a little bit of patience when it comes to Trey Lance. Don't expect to hit the ground running. If he does, great. But at the same time, you just have to be patient. And it's not his fault that he's not playing because Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to play him. The one thing that Kyle said over and over that continues to be true, if the 49ers are mathematically in the playoffs, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be a starter. And right now, the 49ers are more than mathematically involved. They are in the thick of it right now. So, agree with that or not. I know that I want to trade a start right away. But again, it doesn't matter what we want. Kyle Shanahan has been sticking to it, and the 49ers are winning games, so you can't really argue against it, I would say. So, my guess, it was Jimmy's agent. Yeah, maybe. AD 49ers, right? They need to grind out versus the Hawks. The best way to beat Russ is to keep him on the sidelines. Same thing. And that pretty much goes for the 49ers game plan regardless. Control time of possession, run the ball, and impose your will. And you see what the results when they do that. So, let's see. Predict the Niners record for the last 6 games. How deep in the playoffs can they go? Let me pull up the 49ers schedule so we can make sure that we know who's next. Okay, so games, let me get to it. Okay, so 49ers have the Seahawks, the Bengals, the Falcons, the Titans, the Texans, and the Rams again. Okay, so I don't want to be overly optimistic. I don't. I got the 49ers beating the Seahawks. Okay. That Bengals game is going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. The Bengals, they whipped on the Steelers. So maybe that's the one game that they kind of slip. The 49ers damn well better beat the Falcons. And right now, December 23rd, that Thursday night game against the Titans looks drastically different because it's 3 weeks away. A.J. Brown's on IR. Julio Jones is on IR. Derrick Henry's not playing. That team looks completely different. And if you would have asked me a few weeks before, that wouldn't have been a game that I would have put as a W. But the 49ers could, 1, 2, 3, win 5 of these 6 games easily. It could, including that last Rams game. Just because the 49ers know the Rams, they continue their dominance. So, you know what? I'm feeling good. That first drink is flowing through me, and the 49ers have won. I'm going to say 5-1 going forward. And that would put them in a good spot, and that would cement their status of being that one team that nobody wants to play in the playoffs. So there's optimistic Jay. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So Ryu, D'Amico's going to be better than Salah. You heard it here first. Hope so. D Brown, Jay Norman is a huge problem at cornerback. Hate to say it, but it's real. Yeah. You know what else too? Here's the thing. A lot of the things that he's doing wrong are covered up because the 49ers are winning games. And what I mean by that is he constantly misses assignments. Look back at the Mo Alley Cox touchdown against the Colts. That's a clear pass off between him and Tart. He decides to just run to the ball. Mo Alley Cox is wide open, touchdown. Okay, they lose that game. Even in the Rams game, just miscommunications. There was a Cooper Kupp wheel route. He was wide open. K1 is yelling at him to pass it off. Josh Norman just does whatever he wants. And I think that is the worst part. You have a veteran on the field because you expect that they're going to execute, right? And keep their head. Well, 1, he's not executing. 2, he's not good in coverage. And 3, he's also a liability to lose his head and yell at a coach. Now, yes, he punches the ball out here and there. Cool. You can take that because, the 49ers have trouble turning the ball over. But eventually, it's going to be a problem where that's going to cost them a game. And that's what I'm more worried about. Listen, I'm fine with maybe Diamador Lenore, losing reps or, getting beat over the top because he'll be learning. Josh Norman isn't learning anything. He goes rogue far too much. And that's my issue with it, that it's going to be a problem sooner than later if it's not cleaned up. And I think that's really what I have more to say about that than anything. So if Mitchell were to finish with better numbers than Najee with less games played, would that change your mind? It would be better for his argument. I just don't think it would change my mind because of the Shanahan system. And I think that, obviously Elijah Mitchell is a great fit. And, Najee is just behind a really bad offensive line. Matt Canada is not a good play caller, in my opinion. And those boxes are stacked against them because Ben Roethlisberger cannot throw the ball at all down the field. So, I mean, if he continues to play well, it'll strengthen his argument. And especially when you consider where he was drafted as opposed to Najee, I hear that. But it would be tough for me to automatically say that he's better. But I can see the argument. And the fact that we're even having this discussion, I think lends itself to the fact that Elijah Mitchell's been balling, and he's been an absolute find. So no problem, A-Town. Appreciate that. Thank you for joining the stream. Will, Norman is not a good corner, but maybe a competent safety, especially with him looking like Peanut Tillman. Yeah, he has that peanut punch down. Him and Darius Leonard seem to be doing it every single week. Darius Leonard did it again this week, and so did he. It nearly turned into another turnover. So I'll give him that at least. I will. And in this league, turning the ball over, like, for instance, Trevon Diggs. Everyone loves Trevon Diggs because he makes all the plays on the ball hawk. He's also giving up a ton of yards behind him, and he's also giving up a ton of yards in penalties. So it's a trade-off. What are you cool with? Are you cool with him taking away the ball here and there and all of those plays over his head? I think that's something that is another reason why he's on the field, because he does do that. So, I guess that's it. But I'm just afraid that there's going to be a game where he gets isolated. He doesn't turn the ball over at all. Like, he won't punch it out, but he's getting beat constantly, and it turns into a problem for the 49ers. So, let's see. Let's keep going. Just a dude, man. Thank you for your contribution. Bosa has to be comeback player of the year. Yeah, I mean, he's up there, man. I mean, who could say no? 11 sacks in 11 games. David, thank you for your contribution. Yo, Josh Norman is the only guy forcing turnovers. You got to take the good with the bad when you bring in dude midseason. For a guy off the couch, in my opinion, he's playing great. All right. I wouldn't say he's playing great, but I understand the trade-off. That playmaker, opportunistic vibe, I get that portion. I wouldn't say he's playing great, but he is opportunistic, and I hear exactly what you're saying because that's exactly what I was just talking about. Everybody loves Trevon Diggs. He has all those interceptions, but he also gives up a ton of yards in receiving and in penalties. So I hear you, David. I do, man. And you know what? That's probably a main reason that he's on the field. Unfortunately, that going rogue on simple switch offs between him and the safety, simple things that a veteran should know. That's the part that scares me. But I hear you, David. And thank you for the contribution, bro. Appreciate that. Ray White, are we shutting Greenlaw down for the season? Groin injury again? Yeah, that's tough. That's tough, man. I noticed that they were running a lot of 3 linebackers, which is what's going to push K1 off the field because then it's just going to be Mosley, Norman, Tart, and Ward. And then you'll have your 3 in base. So it's tough. I mean, Greenlaw was actually having a pretty good game. As much grief that I haven't given him grief. I was trying to dispel the narrative because people are so in love with 2019 and people were saying, oh, well, he needs to get his job back. You need to get Azeez Al-Shaair off the field. No, you can't take Azeez off the field because of how he's playing, but he did have a tackle for loss. He looked like a guy who was firing through the hole. He was excited. It's just a bummer, man. And right now in November, going into December, you need depth. You definitely need depth. And that would be the reason that I would want him back as well too. So it's tough, man. I have no idea. We're going to have to find out the severity of the injury before we can speculate on that. Zach makes a good point, man. Burrow's going to get comeback player of the year because quarterback. Same thing with MVP. Like I want Debo discussed as the MVP. I understand that's not a running back wide receiver award, but yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it was Burrow, even though he throws a ton of interceptions. But he looked pretty good today. But Nick Bosa has 11 sacks in 11 games. I mean, what the hell, man? He's not even fully recovered yet. And he gets held every single play, basically. So Greenlaw did nothing in the game but missed tackles. He's either still hurt or bad. I saw him miss a tackle. I did. And I stopped myself short of tweeting about it because I don't want to pile on the guy or anything like that. But when people always bring up that missed tackle stat, I always push back with film clips of him either being out of position, not being able to make the tackle, or just completely whiffing on the tackle, which a missed tackle is defined by you actually getting a hand on somebody, an arm on somebody. If you completely whiff, then it's not a missed tackle. It's just, you just missed it. So I didn't want to pile on him or anything like that. But yeah, I saw it too, bro. I definitely saw that too. So not only going rogue, but what was that punching dude in the back on the fumble? He's doing decent, but stuff like that could hurt the Niners in the future. Yeah, he's talking about Josh Norman. I agree, man. Haplo, 1 forced fumble per game that might or might not go our way is not worth the yards given up for the PI. I'm just more worried about him being a veteran and not doing veteran things. Like, I mean, the idea of playing the veteran is that you don't have those mental lapses. You don't have a guy who's going rogue. You have a guy who's going to be solid and be there for the team. And I think that's really my issue more than anything with Josh Norman. But clearly the 49ers are fine living with that as long as he can punch the ball out. I believe Darius Leonard's the only person who has forced more fumbles than Josh Norman. And you're right, we did get him off the street. So that's a good call as well, too. But again, what the hell do I know? Who cares? Kyle Shanahan likes him and they've got him out there. But that's just my concern, really. Oh yeah, Dak as well too, man. I think Dak has a shot at comeback player of the year, man. They're playing. I mean, he's playing so well. He's putting up great numbers. Yeah, so it's going to be one of those guys, unfortunately. But Nick Bosa should get some votes for sure. Norman is trash. Go Niners, get healthy. I agree. What about Debo's injury? We don't know yet. Apparently, he's getting an MRI, and we're going to find out soon. So it's just you got to keep your fingers crossed that it was nothing. I mean, he was standing on the sideline. I don't necessarily I take that as a good sign in terms of he's not in so much pain that he couldn't walk or anything like that. But again, the adrenaline's still running through him. We're not going to find out how severe that injury is until the MRI comes back and until all of that leaves him, and then he goes home because that's when the pain's actually going to start. So we'll see. I hope it's nothing. Well, it's tough, but Al-Shaair is playing well, and Hufanga could be that hybrid safety linebacker. Yeah, I mean, if Greenlaw's out, that's going to give Hufanga more time. We saw in the Jaguars game that they were going to be running 3 safeties, and they did, and you have to keep Hufanga closer to the line. As you saw today, he had a little bit of a mix-up on the Adam Thielen touchdown. He was just out of position. He looked a little lost. Those are the type of mistakes that don't happen when Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward are back there. He was in single high. He just looked out of sorts in that way. But when he's closer to the line, he's playing with instinct. He can go run downhill. He's at his best right there. And the 49ers definitely have the right idea by having 3 safeties on there. It could definitely be that hybrid safety linebacker while Greenlaw is not there. That's the thing. if Greenlaw's playing, the person who loses out is not Al-Shaair. I think it's Hufanga, because now you're going to be running 3 linebackers in your base, and now that takes K'Wan Williams off the field, but it also limits when you can use Hufanga. So, I mean, clearly the 49ers have had a plan of trying to get Hufanga on the field, but at the same time, guys are playing too well to take them off the field, and I think that's really the concern. So he looked like he wasn't too stressing on it. In the beginning, he did, and then he was, hyping up the crowd after. So you hope that it's nothing big. But again, I can't speculate. I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to be either overly optimistic or pessimistic. Let's just find out what they say. And again, the 49ers have a funny way of either downplaying. Remember, Elijah Mitchell should be good to go, and then all of a sudden he's not playing last week. So we'll find out. Just fingers crossed that it's nothing bad at all. So get rid of Norman. Thomas can commit PIs. That's just fine. Zach, come on, man. Ray White, is it time to talk about Coach Hightower? Bro, his special teams suck. They don't seem to want to tackle. Wish doesn't even do any special kicks, and Robbie Gould is either hurt or missing. Hey, man, you're preaching to the choir here. I mean, I joke about going for it on every 4th down and getting rid of kickers. Obviously, that's not something you can really do. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's Hightower's thing. I think that the 49ers just made a mistake by bringing back Robbie Gould when he obviously didn't want to be here, and he just held out, which is mind-boggling for a kicker to hold out as if you're a football player. Ridiculous. Doesn't make sense. And then the 49ers rewarded him and then doubled down on it by making his cap hit and his contract so much harder to get out of. And it's like, why, man? I just don't understand. Let's see. Let's take this donation from Hugh. Hugh, thank you for the donation. Appreciate you, bro. Is Kittle trade bait at this point? Not this year. And I hope not, honestly. Like, I understand the sentiment because there is this thought process of who could net you a first rounder? And I think it would be George Kittle, right? But at the same time, I think what he does is invaluable. But if you're worried about the injuries, I get that portion of it. But it's just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't have the balls as a general manager to do it. I just couldn't. But again, I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions, but there are going to be decisions like that have to be made down the line, especially when his cap hit goes up a little bit longer. But for right now, George Kittle's healthy and he's playing well. Obviously, we want to see him involved more in the passing game, but he still does what he does in the run game, which I feel is invaluable, especially with a team that wants to run the ball as much as the 49ers do. So it's not a bad sentiment. I just couldn't see myself doing it. And this fan base would raise hell, I think, if that happened, in my opinion. Just a dude, man. Thank you for that. I almost think Warner injury is even worse than Debo. Hamstrings are annoying. I am not happy about that, and that scares me. And, he was on the sideline. He had a wrap on the hamstring. And again, fingers crossed. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to, I don't want to be overly optimistic or pessimistic on these things. I just want to see how it plays out. But yes, I'm definitely concerned when it comes to that as well, too. Jesse, just noticed you're almost at 4K subs. To everyone in here, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed. Absolutely, guys. At hour 10, I'm having a blast, man. I really am. We almost have 300 people in here again. Yeah, if you're enjoying the content and you're new here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know that when we go live. This week we'll have a ton of content. Sprint right options, State of the Franchise with Brad Graham, show with Leo Luna. 2 sprint right options actually this week. One to review the game, one to preview the next game, and my fantasy football stream that I do right before the games kick off early on Sunday, where you can get your start sit questions in too. So appreciate you, Jesse, head of the sprint right option analytics department, checking in and doing a great job here as well too. Kittle's contract makes him very hard to trade. Yes, that's another thing. His cap hit is large. But there would be a team that would value what he does because he still is so good. I think the only concerns are just the injuries more than anything, but he's still so good at what he does, man. Again, as a general manager, I couldn't have the balls to do that, man. I really couldn't. So, Angel, off topic. Who's more beautiful, Mary J. Blige or Alicia Keys? I choose Mary. Man, I've been watching Power, Ghost Book, season 2, and Mary's on there. There's something about that character that she's playing that's swinging me over to her, man. Like, I mean, there's something really, really attractive about a woman that is shooting people and taking care of her family and is a strong woman, man. So I don't know, man. I think I kind of lean Mary too in the same way, Angel. That was a little bit off topic, but I'm glad that you brought that up, actually. So, Gustavo, at the end of the day, Kittle's a tight end. He doesn't catch balls to affect he doesn't need to catch balls to affect the game. Yeah, and I think that is a good way to look at it. They pay Kyle Juszczyk a ton of money as well, too. and the things that he does are invaluable. I am on record saying that the best game that Kyle Juszczyk has ever played as a 49er was the Chicago game, in which he had 0 touches. He was so dominant blocking and opening up those holes, man. It is hard to downplay what Kyle Juszczyk brings. And this fan base loves George Kittle, man. They just do. And it would be, if you thought people were upset about the DeForest Buckner trade, think about how many people would be upset about George Kittle, even if it's perceived to be the right thing. And that's why I could never have the balls to do it. I really couldn't. So that's just my opinion there. All right. Second drink's hitting, man. Let's go. If they traded Defoe, Kittle can be traded as well. Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to look at it. And the 49ers definitely floated that idea out there before they did the extension. Don't let anybody lie to you. That was definitely something that was talked about. And they explored that option. They definitely did. So it's definitely not off the table. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. I'm not in favor of it. Let me just be on record. I'm not in favor of it. Even if you net yourself a first-round pick. For a fan base that tells me all the time that the draft is a crapshoot, because I still won't let go that the 49ers drafted Jalen Hurd over Terry McLaurin, for you to say you want another shot at a first-round pick when those haven't always panned out. Hello, Dante Pettis. Hello, other people. Or, Dante Pettis wasn't a first-round pick, I don't believe. But, yeah, you can't look me in the face and tell me the draft's a crapshoot and then say you want another shot at a first-round pick when the draft is absolutely a crapshoot. I would rather take the known commodity. And I think that's where my disconnect is with 49ers fans and the way that the Rams build their teams. Because what's wrong with trading draft picks for known commodities? If they don't work out, they don't work out. That's fine. I get it, But making that move from Goff to Stafford is an obvious upgrade, even if it doesn't look like it right now because of the way he's playing. But you still made the right move for a known commodity. So I think that's where I'm at with it a little bit as well, too. So appreciate that. I believe Red and Gold, you gained a sub today with me. Appreciate you, bro. Most knows what's up, bro. Over under, how many tears did Jimmy shed after Kyle chewed him out? Did you guys see that? Did you see that? Kyle Shanahan was furious after that interception. Oh, man. I don't know what was said, but Coach was hyped, man. He and Jimmy was like taking his scolding, like your father caught you, you didn't throw out the trash when he told you, like that type of scolding, man. I don't know. That was actually something that is crazy if anybody saw. Alonzo, love from downtown Hoboken. Jay, keep doing your thing. Yeah, Hoboken is where I'm from, man. That's awesome. Hoboken, New Jersey. That's awesome, bro. Appreciate the love, man. That's awesome. I wouldn't make a trade with Kittle. We lost 2 Super Bowls to the Cowboys due to the Haley trade. I hear you on that. Just don't trade him to the Cowboys. Trade him to the AFC. Trade him to the Miami Dolphins, where he'll never bother you ever again if that's the case. No, I think the Dolphins are done trading with the 49ers after they got all those picks from them for Trey Lance. So Tristan, looked like 2019 Niners where we finally got to defer a kickoff and it paid off, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it works when you score before the half and you score right out of the half. So yeah, again, these last 3 games feel like that 2019 team, and that's really impressive right now. So well, as long as it's a trade for a corner, I wouldn't be mad at that. Yeah, Felipe, I wouldn't really go crazy trying to trade for a corner because there's so many free agent corners that are going to be out there next year that the 49ers will have their chance at. So you could just bring one in, especially when you consider how many free agents have a chance to go from the 49ers roster. So I would just sign one. I wouldn't, unless you're trading for a Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, like a game changer, I wouldn't move Kittle for him because there's so many guys who obviously aren't in that tier of cornerback, but they are guys who can, when the pass rush is right, be big difference makers. So yeah, I guess that's where I'm at with it right now. Gustavo, we watched Kittle come into the league as a 5th rounder and then blossom into a superstar. You can't trade Kittle. That's our baby. Yeah, this fan base would not take that well. They still are not over the DeForest Buckner thing. And think about how much more love in terms of the personality, what Kittle does on the sidelines. DeForest Buckner was a quiet leader, a guy that nobody wanted to get rid of. But yeah, it would be a tough sell to this fan base to say that you're trading George Kittle. It would be a really tough sell. Again, I couldn't do it myself. So I believe Red and Gold, this is the team I knew we have had all year, so it's nice to see things come together at the right time. Rather have it this way than falling apart towards the postseason. Yeah, and after the Arizona game, I got a little carried away myself talking about, hey, man, just turn it over to trade. This team isn't going anywhere, blah, blah, blah. Cool. I was wrong, completely wrong, right? And that's what you guys need to understand is I understand you want the development to happen, and that's cool, but right now the team is winning games, and who can argue with that? And that's the thing, to have meaningful games down the stretch now. And that was a game that the 49ers played that felt close to a playoff game. who could ask for more at this point? And I think that's a good way to look at it at this point. Stop with the trade Kittle-ish. There's a huge difference in the run game when Kittle plays. I agree, Josh. I agree 100%. His value is much more than a pass catcher. I would like to see him be involved as a pass catcher, but you saw today how valuable he is in the run game. I agree 100%. Yo, Cut Grant's boy, Gold. Robbie Gold, man. I knew you guys were going to be in here talking about that. Jay, Beer Strike. Jason Aponte won't shave until the 49ers win a Super Bowl. Hey, if that's what's going to get it done, I'll do it. I'll sacrifice it. We can make it happen. So, yeah. Uh-oh. I think my little one's here. Boo-boo. Hey, look at that hat. Come here. No, you're good. You're good. Come here. Come here. Hey. 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 You want to say hi? Look. Say hi. Yo. Look at that hat.
Your parents?
Your parents? I'm your parents. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. My daughter's here. It's time to parent a little bit, but appreciate you guys for tapping in, man. We almost had 300 people in here again. Hour 15. Thank you for all the donations. Again, if you guys enjoyed the video, please hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, man. Thank you so much for tapping in. 49ers win. They are moving up in the playoffs right now, and you couldn't be asking for more at this point. So I'm happy to my little ones here. But let me get out of here. And as always, let's go Niners. Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.